good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time of the day it is that you're listening to this. My name is Wanzuu. I'm your host for the Walking with Wanzuu podcast. Now, over time, I have always wanted a nice, safe space that is judgment free to be able to share of my life experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'd love to take you along with me on this journey. And so life is too hard to go through it alone, I think. So we just do life together. Amma, happy listening.
Many people are afraid to heal because their entire identity is centered around the trauma they've experienced. They have no idea who they are outside of their trauma, and that unknown can be terrifying. Hi guys, welcome to today's episode. How are you? How are you doing? Another day, another episode, another catch up. Yo, if it isn't obvious already, this is one of my favorite places to be in, and you are one of my favorite people to speak to. How are you? How are you doing? How is life treating you? We are coming towards the end of April. I am now we are done with the last first month of the second quarter of 2024. And if April has been nothing to you, I hope at the very least it's just been kind to you, allowing you to go through the motions even as you shoulder this cold weather. Because what is this rain? And why is the weather so bipolar? You wake up in the morning, it's sunny AF. 5 p.m., it's pouring. You're literally swimming back home. Nonetheless, you know what? Seasons are just part of life. It doesn't rain all the time. The sun doesn't shine throughout. It's just for nature to be able to give life the balance that it requires, rain is necessary. And so I'm learning to appreciate seasons, but also just learn to experience rain. So sometimes when it's raining, I'll stand outside Kidogo and know what it feels like to just sit in the rain and experience the rain instead of just be running to and fro and here and there. But I hope you're well. I hope you're keeping well. As the intro preempted, I want us to speak about something. And this is something that's very close to my heart. I think you can all tell by now. I said season 5 is going to be a very heavy season because I'm peeling back the layers, guys. I'm peeling back the layers. I'm taking down the walls and I'm being as vulnerable with you as I can because I'm learning that there's so much power in vulnerability. There's so much peace in vulnerability. And owning your truth is everything. I say it here and I'll say it again. You cannot shame the shameless. Your story is your story. Take it for what it is. Heal if you need to heal from your experiences. Own it and then keep it pushing. And you owe it to yourself to constantly self improve and day in, day out want to be the best version of yourself that you possibly can. And I'm always just here rooting for you, cheering you on, even during those times when you backtrack a little bit and you feel like you've let yourself down, extending grace and grace upon grace and telling you it's never too late to start again and do better and be better. I want to talk about um, carrying the badge of trauma and pain and struggle. So basically, just carrying the badge of struggle. We've all had that from every great story. There's always a backstory of struggle or strife. Like with every great thing, it's good things are just not handed to you, right? There's a certain kind of effort that you need to put into. There's a certain kind of experience that you need to go through so that you come out of the other side having like it's not handed to you, having had a full experience, having had lessons, having worked on yourself, and then once you experience something, it takes a process. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Everything that you get to getting to anything, especially if it's a good thing, if it's something that levels you up, or if it's something that alters you, there's a process to it that changes you. There's a process to it, and I like I've always said, consume a lot of self help content, and so you'll always have words or even just issues around trauma are being spoken about. And I think if there's not a greater time when trauma manifests truly and in its entirety, it's during adulthood, right? So when you're adulting, most of the things that happened to you and for you, which you come to realize later on in your journey, kind of show up with how you behave as an adult. It shows up with how you act, how you do things, what your values look like, um, how you, the relationships that you get into, your friendships. You know, when I say relationships, it's all encompassing. It talks about I'm talking about romantic relationships. I'm talking about just platonic friendships. I'm talking about even relationships with like your relatives and your family and how you relate and interact with all that. It's all as a result of all the experiences that you've had growing up and leading up to you being an adult. There's also the blueprint of one's view of life, also, or also the blueprint of one's personality, and that is usually put in between the age of 0 to 6. So how your parents show you what love looks like, how they talk to you, how they treat you, how they react when you make a mistake, um, how they respond to you when you do something good. Between the ages of 0 to 6, that's the blueprint, and whatever you capture from that point kind of dictates how you move as an adult and even as a teenager and moving forward. um and I know we've all at some point in our lives gone through experiences that have not been the most pleasant. It could be a very painful romantic relationship. It could be loss. It could be loss in terms of of death, like grief. It could be loss in different shapes and forms. But we've all had certain unpleasant experiences, or even pleasant ones, but mostly unpleasant, because when we're addressing trauma, we're mostly talking about experiences that weren't the very best, right? Um, that have altered and dictated how we've shown up in life later on, right? I know for me, my self-esteem for the longest time has taken a huge hit. And the thing about me is, because I'm very witty, I'm very eloquent, very well spoken, I can show up in different capacities and in different ways if need be. Like, I need, how I'm made is, I when I need to do what I need to do, I'll do what I need to do. And so it's very hard, unless you know me, or you're very observant, to pick up on the fact that sometimes when I'm functioning at a self esteem and self confidence level that's at an all time low. And that started to show in the spaces that I was in. I have been privileged to have people around me who really love me. The few people in my circle who really love me, cheer for me, are constantly rooting for me, who really, really want to see me win, right? And I'll find myself in rooms with incredible people, with incredible opportunities. But my natural predisposition is just to shy and to make myself as invisible as possible, and not to want to be too pronounced or too loud. And then there's also society that's always modeling for you what the ideal woman should be. The ideal woman should be quiet. She should be composed. She should she should not be too loud. Her opinions should not be too out there. You know, she should just be this very quiet, composed woman who doesn't say much, who doesn't laugh too hard, who doesn't have too many opinions. And that's what is kind of modeled out to be the ideal woman in society. And that has never been me. I'm quite expressive. I'm expressive, especially in how I dress. I have my own personal sense of style that, that kind of speaks to me. I know I have very strong opinions about certain things. I know there are certain spaces for me that, if infringed, then I definitely speak out. And sometimes that doesn't sit with people well. Sometimes that tends to rub you the wrong way. And I know even when I was younger, I was generally a very talkative person, like very talkative, very happy go lucky, very free spirited. That was me. And I know that in certain spaces, I always had people who would tell me things like, uko na kimbelembele, I mean, you talk too much. So it was always, it's like my expressive nature was always kind of frowned upon, in that could you relax, could you tone yourself down a little bit, could you dumb yourself down a little bit so you can be palatable to other people. And sometimes it was spoken to me, but sometimes it was said behind my back, or sometimes it was insinuated, and it kind of caught up with me. um I know. And then later on in life, just dealing with depression, dealing with, and I think this is a lot, this can be said a lot for a lot of Kenyan families, is when you come from humble beginnings, in terms of not coming from the wealthiest family, and maybe at some point in your life you were kind of juggling between basic needs, in that, do we get this, or do we get this, or do we get this, or do we get this? And literally all those are not even luxury things you're trying to be provided for. It's literally basic needs, but you still kind of have to sit down and prioritize and see what is it that is a priority in this moment, and what basic need can we put on the back burner until we have enough resources to kind of deal with all of that. And I don't think we talk enough about I don't think we talk enough about how lack can really take can really play can really hit someone's self-esteem, right? I mean, we've all had this saying about having coming from privileged backgrounds. And there's something to be said about having resources at your disposal. There's a child who goes to school and has a snack. The school fees is well taken care of. Their uniform is nice and clean and pressed. When they go home, their needs are taken care of. There's a nanny who can help, do a few things here and there. The way that child shows up in the world, you definitely cannot equate it to the way a child who perhaps didn't have a meal last night. Maybe they don't come from the best neighborhoods, and their house was like, now when it's in the rainy season, their house was flooded at night. So they probably spent half the night trying to get rid of water in the house. Like a child who comes from a family where there's lack, oftentimes than not, is not as confident as a child who comes from a point of knowing that we have, it is there. And it also comes down to talking about the abundance mindset, right? When you've seen it, when it has been visible to you, it's tangible. You know that it's not like owning a G-Wagon is not that too far off. See me, I know my folks had a Prado. So I mean, just work a bit harder, get a couple more millions. I can get that G-Wagon. When you've seen things at close proximity, it makes it more, you kind of feel like it's easier to believe that you can work towards it, you can achieve it, and you can get it. As opposed to when you're coming from a point of lack, you feel like, I don't know. And then there's also something to be said as we work ourselves towards the trajectory of life about toxic toxic romantic relationships, or even toxic friendships. Now you're coming from a point where um, your self-esteem is not the best, right? Or perhaps you get into a relationship, a romantic relationship, and you find that your partner is always doing things that make you feel like you're not good enough. And because your self-worth or your self-confidence has taken a hit, instead of realizing this is not a place where I need to be, perhaps I need to remove myself from the situation. You take it upon yourself. You take it upon yourself to work and try and prove to this person why you're worthy of being loved, and why they deserve to choose you, and why they need to choose you, and why they still need to be in a relationship with you. And so, a lot of things in life, a lot of experiences that we go through, some could be incredibly traumatic. You could have trauma um, stemming from abuse and stuff like that, which is quite unfortunate. But today, I just want us to talk about the kind of basic ones, right? I know motherhood was a very traumatic experience for me, and it wasn't traumatic in that I didn't, don't get me wrong, I love my baby to death. But never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that I would be a single mom and not even be in a co-parenting situation. And I know there are times when I have seen people around me who are co-parenting and they're doing it well despite a couple of hiccups here and there. I know there are situations where I have seen married people who are raising their kids together and doing a jolly good job at it. I know I have seen single moms who kind of maybe had their children at a point where they were more financially able, or they were older and more emotionally mature, and they took motherhood really well. And so just, going through that experience, sometimes it can be an extremely lonely journey. And for the longest time, because people always used to tell me, Wanzu, you're so strong, you're doing so good. And don't get me wrong, I am. I mean, if I, like I said earlier on, I'm that person who, if you put me in a situation, I'll do what I need to do. If something needs to get done, I'll get it done. But then I carried all, all of the unpleasant experiences and all the pain and struggle that I have been through in my life, and all the instances that life kept handing me that I needed to power through. I kept carrying all that pain as a badge of honor. And anytime someone told me, you're so strong, I was just like, yes, yes, me, I'm strong, me, I'm that person. And I started to get worried when I would see someone who would be in a difficult situation. And, some people don't have a problem with saying, this is becoming unbearable. I don't think I can do this. I'm going to need someone to step in. I'm going to need help. Or someone just sees, they feel like whatever it is that's going on is beyond them. And they just say, I don't think I can handle this. I can't do this. And I found myself being mad at people when they communicated what their limits were. I'm just like, no, like you don't get to say what you can and cannot do. You just power through it. Kwani, even me, I've suffered, even me, I powered through it. And I asked, and I remember asking myself, Wanzu, why do you feel like you don't deserve a life of ease? Why is struggle, and it could be struggle in any form, like it could be in a work environment, it could be at home, but more so in relationships, especially in romantic relationships, when there's no chaos, when there's no struggle, it's like I don't feel settled. And it had me go back and ask myself, um I think I shared this on here. I was hanging out with my cousin. I'll tell you a short story. So my cousin took me to a shoe store because we had been talking about getting heels for the longest time. And she took me to this beautiful shoe store, and they had amazing heels. I'm talking like there were even some pre-loved Louboutins. There were some, like some nice some designer shoes, but there were also like some really nice cute heels from Zara and stuff like that. Like it was just a shoe store that was predominantly all shoes, and they had all kinds of shoes. They had slides, they had heels, they had, I remember her telling me, choose, see what it is that you like, and then we can get you some heels. And I sat. I remember because they had these places where you could sit. It was like a cute little poof where you could sit and try on the shoes. I remember how she was going around looking at the shoes and admiring and trying them on. And I just remember sitting in that poof. And of course, for a while, she took a couple of pairs and showed me. And she's like, does this fit? Does this fit? What do you think about this? Do you like this? And then after some time, she just started focusing on herself and kind of looking at the shoes that she likes, thinking, see, I've introduced her to a couple of pairs, maybe she'll see something that she likes. And I remember sitting there for almost 45 minutes, close to an hour. And for the life of me, I couldn't get up and allow myself to be joyful and just, revel in the moment and go around and look at heels and explore and try them on and say, I like this and I like this, and I think these are the ones I want you to get for me. Because it was literally, I'm getting you the shoes. Go in, see, just look around, see whatever it is that you like. It could be 2 pairs, it could be 3 pairs. I'll get them for you, no worries. But I was so scared. I remember thinking, should I get just one pair? If I like three, or if I choose to get three, will I look greedy? I remember thinking, do I even deserve this? Where am I even going to wear these heels? I should just stick to flats. I should just be a flats girly. And I had so many thoughts going on in my mind. And I think she kind of picked up on it. And she told me, because we have a very open way of communicating with each other. And I remember her telling me, why are you looking sad? Like, me, I brought you here. Like, I want you and to enjoy. Able pick, look around, pick something that you like, get a shoe. Like, look alive. What's going on? Why are you looking like I've brought you shopping and I'm not seeing you changamkai? What's happening? And when I looked back in retrospect, of course, I got a couple of heels. I got some cute shoes, and we paid for it. And then we later on went out and for lunch, whatever. And I remember looking back in that incident in retrospect. It's because of being used to so much struggle. I had put myself in a certain category, and I would always think, no, I'm not the kind of girly who has time to wear heels. I'm always rushing somewhere. I'm either rushing for school drop-offs, or I'm either rushing to the office, or I just need to be walking fast. I don't have time to be poised and to. And I was thinking, no, no, maybe I can choose a day in the week where I want to feel cute, and I'll put on my heels and go with them to work. And if it means I have to leave 30 minutes early, an hour early, so I can strut pole pole and enjoy walking in my heels, I'll do that. I too deserve the finer things in life. I too deserve to wear a cute dress and not ballet flats all the time. Pair it with some cute heels and enjoy, just enjoy what my femininity has to offer, and tap into it and feel good. And I could see how, in certain instances, I allowed my trauma to take hold of me and control my narrative, and I put myself in a certain category, and I had boxed myself. And not only was I boxing myself, I was wearing all this struggle and carrying it and dragging it along with me like it's a badge of honor. And so I remember asking myself, when does it end? Because when you carry trauma around like that, you're constantly feeling like you're always carrying something. Literally. It's like your shoulders are tired and your back is tired and you're just generally tired. And even your aura is just tired. You could have slept the whole night, you wake up in the morning, you're tired. And I don't know what it is that you're carrying with you. And I don't even want to sit here and try and make any experience that you've gone through small, because I could tell you of so many times when I was going through something and I thought it was going to break me, but I powered through it. And I just want to tell you that maybe it's time that we put the past where it needs to be, and that's behind us, and embrace the future and all the good possibilities that it can bring our way. It could be a really traumatic relationship. I know I am recovering from losing. I've lost. I lost. I think a friend. No, I want to say one or two because I'm not sure which category to place the other one. But I've lost a friend, and I also lost two people who I was seeing, who I thought those particular relationships were going to lead into something long term, like even marriage. And I remember using anger as a weapon. I remember talking to people and just saying, "Oh, that that person is trash. I don't even care. I don't even care what happens to them. Whatever. I'm done. Blah blah blah." But when I'm by myself in my own company, I keep thinking, "Oh my God, I still miss so and so." But anyway, they did me dirty, so whatever. And I was using anger to power through that. And I remember the other day just sitting and thinking, would it hurt, Wanzuu, if you just admitted to yourself that the reason you're even so hurt that these particular interactions didn't work out is because you have so much love in your heart for these people and you cared for them deeply? And it's okay. It's okay to admit that and stop feeling the need to show up so strong and scary and aggressive, and just allow yourself grant yourself the permission to accept that you cared deeply for these people, whether or not they had the capacity to meet you at where you were. And so I accepted it, that I care deeply for these people. Some of them didn't have the capacity to meet me where I was at. Some of them didn't have pure intentions. And some of them, maybe whatever interaction we had just run its course and it was time for things to end. And because sometimes we struggle with putting a natural pause and an end to things, then life kind of has a way of working us into that and putting that pause for us. And I just allowed myself to feel it. And so I think the difference for me is whenever it's a friendship or a romantic relationship and I feel like it's no longer serving its purpose or it's no longer edifying to my soul, I can allow myself to distance myself from it and walk away from it and end the interaction, even if I still deeply care for that person. I don't want us to build a generation where we feel like solitude and being alone, 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 and being bad, 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 and being misjee, bad and bougie and whatever. We don't have to be so hard all the time. It's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to truly own whatever feelings you're feeling deep down when you're in your own company and when the lights go off and you're no longer performing for anyone and it's just you. Own your feelings, own your story, process them, allow yourself to work through them, and then make a conscious decision to move forward and honor yourself while you're at it. And in that particular instance, for me, honoring myself was saying, even if I still love this person, even if I still care deeply for this person, perhaps a boundary has been crossed, perhaps I have been wronged in this way, and I don't want to move forward. And so because I'm choosing to honor myself and respect myself, I'm going to terminate this and choose to love them from a distance and just maybe keep off and slowly work myself away and extend myself grace while I'm doing it. Struggle, it's not, I don't think that's the main purpose of life. And any difficult situation is usually just a lesson to either equip you with the tools you need to be able to tackle something or teach you empathy for someone else who you will meet in that similar situation, or even to birth something innovative that provides a solution towards that particular problem that you face. Struggle, don't waste your pain. Let your pain teach you something and then go through the process. Allow yourself to go through the process. And at some point, I'm going to need you to allow yourself to heal. And then I'm going to need you to allow yourself to release it. And so I'm speaking to you. It could be anything. It could be anything. I want you to close your eyes, go into your safe space, whatever it is. It could be you're locking yourself in the closet, you're giving yourself a couple of minutes, you're going to go into the loo or into the bathroom, put the toilet seat down, sit on it. Allow yourself the gift of silence and solitude, and then introspect and see what is that pain that you've been carrying with you for so long, acting like it's your armor, acting like it's a badge of honor. I want to tell you the fact that you constantly power through whatever challenges life throws your way, and you wake up every day and choose to keep going, you're already a winner. And you don't have to carry your pain for it to look like your badge of honor. And we are also going to do away with the culture of glorifying pain and choosing to want to encourage people to go to the other side, but also not embrace toxic positivity. There's a very sensitive balance, but we can get there. And I want to encourage you to do that today. I want to encourage you to tap into whatever pain you've been holding on to and let it go. That can not only be your story. Another thing maybe I can choose to kind of compare it to is, have you seen those parents who are constantly telling their children, I did this for you, I sacrificed this for you, I wasn't even able to do this for myself because I was doing this for you? No. Imagine you were. Because as a parent, by the time we chose to have a child, Don't act like you didn't know that you were supposed to be able to provide for that child. And the fact that you chose to make that the center of your life and ignore yourself, that's on you. That's on you. And the beautiful thing about reinvention is you can reinvent at any time in your life. I don't know, like I love the internet also. When I sometimes I'm scrolling through Instagram and I see people in their 70s, 80s making serious fashion statements, living the lives that they dreamt of when they were younger, but they feel like, you know what, now I'm 70. Actually, all my children are grown. I feel like now I want to reinvent. Now I want to do this again. And they go back and they do it. I'm seeing people going back to school, becoming doctors in their 40s, in their 50s. Anything that God doesn't plant a dream in your heart and in your mind for no reason. Anything that you desire, you can work towards it and you can do it. The only thing standing in between you and that is you releasing your trauma and your limiting beliefs. And I'm preaching to you as I preach to myself. And it's not a one time thing. And that's the difference between toxic positivity and working towards your goals. It's even on those days when you wake up and you don't feel like the badass that you are, it's you powering through those negative emotions and still getting as little as you can done, even as you work and power through your emotions and releasing your trauma. And I'm here. I'm rooting for you and I'm cheering you on. If you feel free, you can always share down below on the comment section what's that one thing that you're releasing today as we come to an end of this episode. What's that one traumatic event that you've allowed to define you and that you've been carrying along with you that you need to let go of so that you can slowly and slowly tap into your greatness and believe that you too deserve good things. I mean, if for nothing, it's because you're a child of God and your father is a king. You are royalty and you deserve good things. You're here. The fact that you woke up this morning means your work is not done and there's something for you to do. You are blessed so you can walk around looking good like the king and the queen that you are, but you're also blessed to be a blessing because your life it's through you people should be inspired. Through you people should also be blessed. And I want you to realize what a gift it is to be alive, more so in such a time. I know I'm letting go of a lot of the negative experiences I had in my family. There's a very special Mother's Day episode that I have shot that I cannot wait to share with you as I talk about my mother wounds and how I am slowly working towards healing and creating better memories for myself that I'll carry with me even long after my mom is gone. I know, and I'll be gone as well, and my daughter will have those memories. I know I am also letting go of the traumatic romantic relationships that I've had, and I'm working towards being the ideal partner I would want to be with if I was dating me. Yes. And then learning also to just release myself to love and not self sabotage and stop believing that romantic relationships are based on chaos. I am releasing that and tapping into knowing that I too deserve a peaceful love. I too deserve a love that elevates me, that supports me. I too deserve a love where I am chosen. I deserve to be chosen and I deserve to choose as well. And I want to be chosen just as much as I am choosing to choose the other person. Thank you so much for listening if you've stayed this far. This is something that's very close to my heart, and I hope that it has spoken to you just as much as it spoke to me. Feel free to share with me some of the things that you're releasing and decide today that you're no longer carrying your trauma as a badge of honor. It is your story. It is something that you experience, and that can never be taken away from you. But how do we move on from it? How do we build on it? How do we carry the lessons with us? And how do we transition into bigger and better? Sending you so much love and hugs. Thank you for being here. Love you, minutes. And I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.